Game over.
Hey, hi, hello, welcome to Movie Deathmatch Beatdown, where I talk about movies while playing video games. After the disaster, which was my playing of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, we're going back to Halo, this time with Halo Reach, and I'll be talking about Birdman today. And Birdman is the new Michael Keaton movie. It's about a washed up actor who wants to be taken seriously in the world, and so is working on a new play. Oh, sorry, that was a bit laggy. And it's from the director of 21 Grams and Babel and a bunch of other cool stuff. And this film is really damn cool, actually. It's meant to look like it was done in one take. Sorry, it's dominating. And it looks really slick and smooth and very well executed. And yes, basically, there are some flaws in it. It's not perfect. I wouldn't give it a perfect score. But there's a lot to love, because Michael Keaton, I wouldn't say it's like part of a comeback, because this is the same guy who starred in RoboCop and Need for Speed last year. Both movies which were not exactly amazing. Oh my god. But it's still a pretty good flick. Got some great moments in it. Wonderful dialogue. The supporting cast is fantastic as well. Edward Norton and Zach Galifianakis, Naomi Watts, Andrea Riseborough. Bunch of great people. Sorry, just trying not to die. And yeah, I think Edward Norton is fantastic. Basically, playing that actor who's just like a little too great but a little too off the rails. I wouldn't say he's like playing himself, but he's definitely a man who plays a method really strongly. And it makes for some great moments. There's like one of the first scenes you see him in. He's like teaching Keaton how to actually play this character, and they both have a wonderful back and forth, delivering lines to each other. And it's like a nice testament to both their acting chops, because they're both two really good actors. Though obviously Keaton has not had the success of Edward Norton, because Edward Norton Fight Club and a bunch of other stuff. Keaton's had Batman, which is, and yeah, a lot of other stuff, but most people know him for Batman. He's also in Out of Sight, Jackie Brown, and he's a great, should I say character actor, I guess, but isn't every actor a character actor in a sense? But it relates a lot to his career. Like, there's a lot of parallels between his character in Birdman and his career in real life, because he too, not exactly as washed up as the actor in Birdman. He's a lot more, just hasn't been given the role since Batman, and he's just been cast down to this type. So it's good to have a film like this, which is a lot like the play in the actual film, that's to like try and bring back his fictional character's return. And the problem is, like, that parallel comparison is, there's a lot of parallels and a lot of themes and ideas which are way too on the nose. Like, there's no subtlety to it. People are there to do exactly what they have to be. All the lines they say are exactly what he needs to hear or what relates directly to the screen. The play that's actually in the film is not subtle at all at being a parallel to the actual events going on with Keaton's character and everyone around him. And yes, there's like, you see like the same scene different ways and different interpretations, and different elements are introduced the more we learn about the different characters. But it's still way too on the nose, way too poetic. And that kind of lets it down, but it works for it. But it could have been done a little better. It could have been a bit more foreshadowing in a good sense, and symbolism that wasn't way too obvious. which is like a big problem with Emma Stone's character, who's Keaton's daughter in this flick, and basically just serves as that character who just gives him like a muse for his life and times and career. But it's just way too out there. Not even out there. It's just there. Like, you can interpret literally. You don't have to read into it too much. And if you read into it too much, it's just the weird theories you're going to be putting together, which is a shame. I mean, it's wonderfully put together. The construction of it makes it look like Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, but on crack, because Rope is done in real time and has like 14 cuts in it, but it is not noticeable enough. It makes it look like it's just done in one take, or like a play essentially, which once again works well for the framing device of this flick, being centered around a play and theatre, and it's wonderful, and the translation of it to cinema is great. Yet it's not that amazing. Like, I mean, like, the concept of it's great, the execution's great, but the actual content itself and the actual ideas behind it, that's where it lets down. I'd still thoroughly recommend it. It's definitely like a 4.5 out of 5. You just have to nitpick a bit more, which is all right. I mean, it is just nitpicking. You can go out and watch this movie and enjoy it and love it if you know what you're getting into. There might have been like a bit of, not false advertising, but misleading trailers, I guess, for some people. I'm sure most people think Michael Keaton in a movie called Birdman is going to be like a Batman parody, whereas this is more after all of that, and it's set in a semi-realistic world. Like, actors exist like Robert Downey Jr. and Jeremy Renner and all that. They're all like name dropped and such, but there are no like cameos and such like that. And for a while I thought Edward Norton was going to play Edward Norton, but it's more like him playing actors he's worked with, like Philip Seymour Hoffman and such. There might be some of that in the performance, or once again maybe I'm just reading way too much into it, which you really shouldn't on this film. Will it win anything at the Oscars or Golden Globes or anything? Maybe. I can't really think, actually. Maybe Best Editing, I guess. I wouldn't really say cinematography, but who knows? I'm sure it'll win something, but definitely not original screenplay. It's just way too obvious and on the nose and just not special, really. I wouldn't say it's like pretentious dog shit like a lot of people I've been talking to have been saying. It's not like that at all. It's just a celebration of theatre. It's about comebacks, and it's about desire and wanting to break free of the shadow that you've cast upon yourself. It's okay. It's more than okay. I'm making it sound a lot worse than it is. It's brilliant. It's technically amazing. The performances are spectacular. The music's great. The cinematography's great. The way it looks like it's made to look like one shot for the most part is fantastic filmmaking. But it just doesn't work entirely for me as a story. It's just way too obvious. It's not that you know how it's going to pan out, but everything that's meant to be clever about it, and everything that's meant to foreshadow and make amazing, it's a bit of a disappointment. It's just too obvious. And I don't know who wrote this, which is a first, because I usually know who writes stuff and looks at their career and stuff. But I don't know if they're a playwright or a screenwriter. They might have done amazing stuff, but this is not their best work, at least thematically and all the ideas. So for that, I give Birdman 4 out of 5. Still great, still fantastic. I'd definitely recommend it, but it's not a 5-star. It's not a big awards contender. It's not going to be number 1 of your movies of the year, but it will definitely be in the top 4. It's that good, but it's a bit of a letdown in some respects.